The CSI problem-based learning unit started off with a crime of vandalism. Security footage was obtained of a suspect taking a printer and other miscellaneous items from classrooms. The next morning, students came in to find the vandalism and were challenged to figure out who had committed the crime.
So when it comes down to the crime scene, you guys have all obviously already seen it. You walked by this morning, right? Yeah. Everybody knows what do you think about the crime scene? What are some of the things that we should be looking for at the crime scene that would lead us to a suspect or to whoever did this? What are some of the things that we should see? Footprints? Fingerprints, absolutely. Handwriting, very good. What else? Anybody? What else should we see? What else should we look for? What could we find out to help us solve the crime? Hair samples, absolutely.
Shoe size?
Shoe size, absolutely. What's that tell us? If they wore the shoes, how big they are maybe? All right. So how do you use inference, observation, and data to convict the suspect of a crime? That's what we're here for, right? That's what we're going to find. So what are some of the things that you guys think is important evidence?
Students were grouped into teams of 3 to 4. Each had a job such as lead investigator, recorder, and evidence manager. Students spent the morning labeling evidence, writing observations, recording the crime scene with cameras and recorders, and were handed a 5-suspect list. From that point, students could start creating a list of questions during an interview session with each of the suspects on the list. Okay, so we just got our evidence and started making some inferences and observation based on what we gathered in the hallway. And who do you guys believe did the crime in our middle school?
We believe it's Miss Bogus because on the window there was writing and the writing samples that we got matched with the writing on the window.
Also, she had the orange paint that was used on the window.
Also, her fingerprint actually matches the one that was on the printer. She claims that she would work on the printers, but our teacher said that she would never call her to work on the printer.
Also, her shoe print was about the same as the one we found at the crime scene.
Okay, Kayla, why do you feel that Mrs. Bogus is our suspect in the crime?
Because we had asked her about the orange paint, and she said that she didn't really like orange, but she had orange paint on her desk, so we asked about it, and she had this look like, I don't know, like she was acting like she didn't know, but it sort of made me think, because our group was down there, that she was like, she had the orange paint to use, or maybe someone stole it from her.
Okay.
And then the videos and the pictures of the crime, they were really helpful because if we didn't have the video, we really didn't know anything about it. And they were also, the fingerprints were very helpful because they factored into one person having a fingerprint for almost everything. So.
All right, so today we're going to be using some technology on a website called Acula.com, and I have the website listed up here. And what we're going to do is we are going to look at ratios of body height to foot length. We know our suspect's foot length. We have a very good example right here from our crime scene. And what we're going to do is we're going to measure how long the foot is. Then what we're going to do is we're going to measure our feet and our body length to be able to use our ratios to find a prediction of what the suspect's height should be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys each a laptop, and you're going to be entering in all of our data. So you're going to be spending the next 5 to 10 minutes measuring your foot and your height length, and you're going to record that data down on a data sheet that I'm going to provide to you, and then you're going to be entering it into a website. Once you have the information entered in on the website, then you're going to be able to predict, based on all of our data, how tall our suspect is actually going to be.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. all with the same stuff. Okay.
After getting our evidence and seeing the suspect on the video, we realized the foot length and the height did not match. To prove this, we used a website for a foot to height ratio.
Okay, so we just finished up our CSI project. Now we have to get all of our data, our observations, and all of our things together so that way when Officer Reed comes in here, we have a presentation that we can give him to make sure that we convict Mrs. Old. All of you in here believe that Mrs. Old is our suspect. She's the one that committed the crime. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our scatter plots we made, our file footage for the speed, we're going to get our observations from the crime scene, we're going to get our Powtoons that we made for science and everything else data-wise that we're going to put all into our presentation. All right, Holly and Jordan, you now feel that Mrs. Old had done the crime, and why do you think this is?
We had 3 observations why, and the first one were the D and Y's that she wrote on the board, and the D, it had like, when she wrote it, it had like a little tail at the end, and we had her rewrite it, and it looked exactly how it did on the window, and then also the Y, it had the curl like on the tail, and they were both similar to the window.
And in the surveillance video, when she was running into one of the rooms, there's a poster by the door, and she is the same height as the person in the video that we watched.
And then also we got the email times back when each of them were sending emails, and Miss Old, she was the only person that was not sending an email during the video, and she actually sent one right after.
This unit helps students learn what it was like to become a detective and to use technology to make a solid case to convict a suspect. The project tied into the 6th grade math and science standards dealing with inference and observations, ratio, and speed. Students also got to use technology to time the surveillance video, record data, and generate trends in data. What really tied everything together was the authenticity we had for our kids.
And to make a really good